Oh, here she is.
Good evening, Jack.
Good evening. It's 1 p.m, Beck.
Feels like evening.
Glad you're able to join us. Daniel Gibbs is MIA.
Right.
You know where Daniel is? He's probably at Officeworks.
What does Dan tend to buy at Officeworks these days?
No one knows. He just goes to Officeworks. You know what we need? We need our team behind the scenes, Grace, to do up an image or a graphic of Daniel the Swan at Officeworks.
At Officeworks, buying connector pens.
Connector pens and lanyards. I like it. And some Mentos. Mentos. We need Mentos.
G'day, good people. Welcome to the Grow Your Clinic podcast by Clinic Mastery. Here's what's coming up inside of this episode.
Where do you see admin meetings going off the rails and going wrong?
What should we stop doing, start doing, keep doing? That's essentially the team meeting agenda.
It's not your job to be the rock star. It's your job to be the factory that creates other rock stars.
How do you create a space where someone feels safe to give you a 2?
When people are vulnerable, it's our responsibility as leaders to validate.
My goal walking out of a meeting is to have less on my to-do list than when I walked in. Empowering our team.
I think we've all at various times felt that owner guilt of I need to be the first one in the building, the last one to leave. And if I'm not there, oh gee, my team must think I might be sitting by the beach sipping pina coladas, driving my Bugatti. This episode will be right up your alley if you're ready to turn your admin meetings from draining to energizing and start driving real results within your clinic. Stick around to learn how to create a safe space for your team to give feedback on meetings. Plus, Beck shares her go-to tips for setting a clear agenda that leaves you with less on your to-do list, not more.
Before we dive in, today's episode is brought to you by alleyclinics.com. If you're the kind of clinic owner who loves to feel organized and stay ahead of the chaos, you'll love Alley. Think of it as your digital clone. It's the single source of truth for all your clinic's policies, systems, and training. Test it for free at alleyclinics.com. And in other news, applications are now open to work with us one-on-one at Clinic Mastery. If you want support to grow your clinic and bring your vision to life, just email hello@clinicmastery.com with the subject line podcast and we'll line up a time to chat. All right, let's get into the episode.
Welcome back to this episode of the Grow Your Clinic podcast. Rebecca Clare, good to have you with us again today. In fact, you are the one, the only Rebecca Clare, who I can confirm is not pregnant. I assumed that you were pregnant on our episode last week. For those who were listening along, Beck shared a demo of what could be a maternity leave communications policy. I assumed it wasn't a demo. I assumed it was real, but lesson number 1, never assume pregnancy of anyone. Good
you assumed correctly that it was a pre-pregnancy list for Audrey, who is almost 2. Yeah. I can say that Toddlerville, which is where we currently reside, means that she's one and only right now.
Not a topic of conversation just yet. I like it. Well, got a couple of quick questions for you, Beck, and then we're going to welcome some of our new Alley members or users, some new members to the Clinic Mastery community. So quickly, off the top of your head, no justification of these answers. Would you rather a fully booked calendar for the next 6 months or a full waiting list?
Neither and both.
No, wrong answer.
Am I going to become the Clinic Mastery podcast fence sitter? Can I take Ben's mantle, or is that forever Ben's?
Pete is the reigning champion of fence sitting, but no, you will not take it from. I won't let you take it from him. So, would you prefer a full waiting list or a full diary?
Full diary.
Okay. Would you rather one Google review, 5-star Google review every day, or one new referral partner every week?
1 5-star Google review every day.
Oh, good. And would you prefer a clinic coffee machine that never breaks or Wi-Fi that never drops out?
Oh, this one hits at the moment. Wi-Fi. It'd be Wi-Fi. As a non-coffee drinker, I think I'm also the outlier here from a Clinic Mastery perspective.
Whoa. Time out. How did you end up on the team not as a coffee drinker?
Because I hide with a hot chocolate. So it's still a hot beverage of some kind. So no one really knows that it's a hot chocolate.
I might have to have a chat to HR about how we have a non-coffee drinker. Okay, you'll take the Wi-Fi. Good to know. Well, listeners, we're going to dive into all things admin team meetings today. But before we do, a quick welcome to our new Alley users. If you want help systemizing your clinic, having a one-stop place for all of your resources, policies, procedures done for you, our AI And our Clinic Mastery Way has built out our full library of resources, as well as our dashboarding and mentoring software. That is all a part of Ali Pro. You can check that out at aliclinics.com. or send me an email at jack@clinicmastery.com. But I want to welcome a couple of new users or clinics to Ali. We've got Sam, who's a Nuckle user. We've recently set up integrations with Nuckle, Splows, and Halaxy. So Sam, a Nuckle user. We've got Kate, clinic owner from the Gold Coast, Dan from the UK, and Jackson, a podiatry clinic owner. So warm welcome to those folks. And if you listening in want to join the Ali train, please feel welcome to do so. We've also got some welcomes for new clinics to our Business Academy and Elevate. These are our coaching programs that help clinics to amplify their impact and build clinics for good. And so warm welcome to Sally, who has joined the Business Academy, Stan has joined Elevate, and Nick is a physio who has joined us as well. So massive warm welcome to those folks. If you want to see if you're a fit for our programs, if we can help you, whether you're a startup solo clinic or you're a bit more substantial and have been around for a little while longer, we can explore how we can help you to fill your books, grow your team, boost your cash flow, and ultimately grow your clinic. Please feel welcome to get in touch again with me, jack@clinicmastery.com. And we'll have a no obligation conversation, explore the options and see what is a good fit for you. So,
how exciting, Jack. So many new members to the community. I love it.
It's all happening, Beck. It is all happening. So let's tee this up, right? The typical narrative of a clinic owner around this topic of admin meetings is something along the lines of, this is what they say: they always end up being a waste of time where we talk about the same problems every week, nothing gets solved, and I, as a clinic owner, walk out more frustrated than when I walk in. So my question for you, Beck, is what separates a meeting that drains energy from one that actually energizes us and drives results? What separates those two?
Meetings, firstly, that could have been emails or communication or Slack or whatever platform you're on. They could have been another mechanism or a method. And the other are meetings that are just chatter and there's no decision making, no movement. A good meeting has movement in it. There are key decisions that are made, and we're using that time together to make that decision.
So when you say a meeting that should have just been an email, what's the difference? Like what is something that should just be an email versus what should maybe wait and be prioritized in a meeting?
Something that needs us all to be in the room to collaborate on that, whether we need to whiteboard it together, or if it's about bringing our thoughts and our processes and our systems, that can all be documented in other methods of communication. But it's where we actually want to problem solve or get a solution to something, that should be a meeting.
Yeah, I see that as well. When meetings just become like information distribution,
yes,
like that no one needs to be there live to hear information. That can be done in. How do you distribute information typically in your clinic?
Yeah, it comes in and you hit a really great point there, Jack, is it comes in a few different ways, because what I know from our team is that they all absorb information differently. And I would like, rather than the information producing to be in a meeting format, I would like that to be in a way that my team have the time and space to absorb it. So it might well be that it's in written communication as well as an email format. And now by recording videos, AI can take care of the transcript and summarize it all for you anyway. So it's really about targeting how our team absorbs information and giving it to them in a way that they have time, space, and the ability to absorb that.
Yeah, I really like that. And I know I've coached a few clinic owners recently through this idea of recording yourself, doing a video, distributing the information, whatever that might be. Maybe it's some, a weekly update or a dashboard review, and using AI, whether that's Fathom or Zoom or whatever that looks like, to transcribe the entire video and to summarize the video. And so, I would see clinic owners pasting that video into Slack with the summary in the main post and then the transcription in the thread, and then finally asking the admin team to acknowledge receipt of that video. And that's one of the benefits I think that we see from Slack versus email, where Slack we can ask them to give it the eyes or give it the tick emoji reaction, and also to ask any questions or to keep it as an open conversation loop. I really
Jack,
like it.
to that point, but prior to a meeting, if I'm needing to pre-frame something or I need to ensure that people come ready to those meetings, and that's also the critical component of running an effective meeting, is that people come ready to contribute. We have team members on our team, and I'm one of them, who's a period of time thinker. So doesn't particularly like being put on the spot with questions. Note that, Jack. Anyway. It's really important that they have time and space to think and be able to contribute meaningfully in that meeting. So I will often send a very quick 2-minute video to the team, say, hey, we're going to be talking about this today. Please come prepared, or please bring these resources along with you so that we can make the most of our time together.
Okay, I like that. Let's keep on pulling on that thread down the line of agendas. And so really what you're describing there is helping your team be ahead of the game and understanding what's on the docket, what's on the agenda for the coming meeting. Do you have like standing agendas or fluid? And I'm not just talking about you, but maybe clinics you coach or what you see the best do. Do you have a standing typical agenda? Do you add things to an agenda? Where does that agenda live? Can you talk us through agendas?
Absolutely. For larger team meetings, we personally have set agendas. It helps us keep on track. Okay. What we've also been able to do with that is that each week we can rotate the team member who is leading that session. Oh, okay. We want to help foster the leadership within our team and our community. And it also allows each team member to lead and contribute in a way. And we start to see those that want leadership as maybe a pathway as well.
Sorry to interrupt, Beck. That also gives you personally, like Rebecca, the owner, a chance to step out of the chairperson's seat and because it's actually really hard to contribute to a meeting when you are the chair, right?
Absolutely. We've also gotten to a point now that I don't attend the vast majority of those meetings because it has a set agenda. We run through wins, and then on the basis of what should we stop doing, start doing, keep doing. That's essentially the team meeting agenda.
Interesting.
And then we round out with actions. Who is going to take action on what tasks or actions, and by when?
I like
so
it.
It's really clear. They are 30 minutes, short, sharp and shiny, and we get stuff done. We make decisions in those sessions.
I like it. And what sort of frequency? We're talking weekly, fortnightly, monthly?
So it's site specific for our team. So we operate over 3 sites, and they're once a month currently.
And do you see clinic owners running shorter meetings more frequently or longer meetings more frequently? Like, what do you see as common trend?
I see the common trend in clinics, but also in businesses generally, meetings that are longer. However, I would challenge, I think because they think quantity is what we need. We need to sit together for a large period of time. It can be logistically challenging, maybe to get everyone together. I challenge most to shorten those. Things will take as long as we give it. If we give a meeting an hour, it's going to take an hour. People will also maybe trickle in a little bit behind schedule. Whereas if we start sharp on the 30 minutes, and that is what we're doing, we sharpen our sword.
You mentioned that you don't attend the meetings. We hear it so often. Clinic owners almost on the daily will say to us, I want more time to work on my business, not in. So you've obviously created that level of freedom for yourself. Can you maybe talk us through that experience of how, do you remember the first time that you didn't go, or how did you empower the team to bring that to light?
Absolutely. I do remember the first time I didn't go to one of those meetings, and the meeting happened essentially right outside.
Oh, so you're listening through the door?
Sort of. I actually had to put on a pair of headphones because I was like, I'm going to go and contribute, because naturally I want to help provide solutions. It was about actually letting go, and as a leader, letting go, and that in fact empowered the team. We have a reporting mechanism. It's back in Slack. They follow the agenda template. And so I can see in real time what is happening in those meetings if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Do you now?
No, I don't anymore.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
I feel free.
Have you always felt free?
Pardon me?
Have you always felt free?
No. No, absolutely not, Jack.
Interesting. So you don't
There have
check in
been
on the
many a
notes.
time when, the business has felt really challenging, really like a small child that needs you all of the time and you have to have constant eyes on it. And it's felt like I've been attached. And this freedom, I'm really relishing in this at the moment. It's given me opportunities to do other things. It's allowed me to be here in this podcast, to carve out that time and, more importantly, more time with my family. So I really enjoy the freedom, and it comes from having empowered team members, and by allowing them to do this and following through on the fact that I either don't attend or the actions do get completed, they've felt that rhythm, that they know that this is the real thing.
Okay, so I'm thinking about the clinic owner who is listening, and they want the freedom, they want more space to work on their business, but perhaps they're worried what their team might think if the owner isn't there. I think we've all at various times felt that owner guilt of, I need to be the first one in the building, the last one to leave, I need to be in everything because I want my team to see me contribute. And if I'm not there, oh, gee, my team must think I might be sitting by the beach sipping pina coladas, driving my Bugatti. Yeah, did you have to deal with that type of guilt that you weren't around, and what would my team think? And then what did your team actually think about you not being there?
Absolutely. I really found that team guilt part of the most challenging part of being a leader.
Right.
Was that, also this is my baby and I should be the one who cares about it the most. And I should be the first in, I should be the last out. I need to be there to answer everything for my team all the time. What I found was I actually didn't need that. The time and space helped my team to find the solutions for themselves and empowered them to be better leaders and better communicators and better therapists and better admin team members. More independent, more autonomous, more accountable. It came actually from having really good conversations, and a couple of team members actually approached me and they said, Beck, are you okay? And I said, what do you mean? Of course I'm okay. They said, you're always the first one here. You're always the last one out. You don't expect us to do that. We're looking at you and we're sort of seeing this pattern of behavior and wondering whether you need that from us as well. And so that actually came from a point of concern for me. And that actually made me realize, and I said to them, well, what do you need from me? And they said, we want quality versus quantity. We want you to be present and high, not necessarily high energy, but positive and not feeling drained or tired, or all of those things that often come with some challenging seasons in our business. They wanted me to be the best version of myself because that's what I was mentoring them to be. So they spun the mirror, which was very clever, very clever.
I'm thinking if we just maybe go a little layer deeper on the emotional, psychological element, you don't have a clinical background. You've different tertiary education, but your background's not clinical. So I'd imagine so much of your identity may be caught up in leading the admin team. Can you maybe speak to the non-clinical owners, whether they're themselves non-clinical, their partner is clinical, and maybe the identity or the psychology, the emotion behind empowering your admin team, and so you as a non-clinical owner don't have to feel the burden of proving yourself. Can you maybe speak to that?
Yeah. Proving my worth was a really big transition that I had to do myself, and working with the likes of Clinic Mastery mentors, reading the recommended resources and books, and just absorbing myself in that. What I needed to become was identifying myself as a leader versus identifying myself as the person who looks after the admin team. And so by identifying myself as a leader, it meant that it also opened up other opportunities for me, whether it be here in coaching or the podcast or at events, because what I could then do was, how can I amplify my impact as a leader beyond my admin team? It also allowed me to then lead parts of the clinical team, obviously with not necessarily the clinical aspect
right, but
of
leadership isn't
practice,
just clinical.
but leading people. So it was about what I referred to myself as internally, and the measures that I put on myself was, how do I move from this leader that is leading the admin team and the tasks that need to be done versus to leading the humans and how can I create a bigger impact beyond myself. That's what also allowed me to break free from needing to feel like I had to be in the clinic all the time.
Right. So you're not in the admin area, reception desk all the time?
No, absolutely not.
Are you there ever?
Never. And it was a deliberate thing. I would often jump back on the front desk from time to time. If someone called in sick or we were short on cover, I would jump back in. And that worked for us for a season as we were going through a growth period until we could ensure that we had the revenue to sustain bringing someone else in to cover that balance. But we actually made an active choice that almost now, no matter how short we are, we will find an alternative solution than me going on the front desk. It's gotten to the point now that I would need to go into our alley and I would need to look at the modules about how to operate some of our admin systems because they've changed so much since I last did them.
Good problem to have, right?
Yeah.
When you don't know what to do, then you can't just helicopter in and rescue them.
Correct. So I often have to ask my team, so how do we actually do this process now?
Right, you're like
AI does part of this. Or...
Interesting. Okay, that's really cool. Thank you for speaking into some of that high level stuff. Let's get down into the weeds, the meat and potatoes of admin meetings. Who you mentioned earlier, bigger meetings versus smaller. Who attends your admin team meetings?
Ideally, we try and get all of our admin team to those, and potentially one of our clinic leads. Because some of the challenges that maybe our admin team face might be around the scripting for a particular service, or, hey, I'm having this challenge with this practitioner, they're always running behind schedule. That practitioner can give context to how that might unfold or potential strategies that are there. So we do try and have a leader within the clinic at those meetings.
I think that's a really good 1%er for clinic owners to take away, maybe to include one of your practitioners or clinical team in your admin meetings. That's a beautiful cross-pollination. I like it.
We also decided to do that because we wanted to bridge the gap, and I see this happen in clinics so often, is that there are two sets of teams. You have your practitioner team and you have your admin team, and they're often quite separate, and there can be little challenges interpersonally that happen within those teams. We've just found that blends it really nicely. This is a challenge here the practitioners are aware of. Equally, our prac meetings, there's often an admin team member that will sit in just to inform the process that goes in behind something. It's just that cross-pollination.
Oh, I love that. I'd be implementing that straight away for clinic owners listening. You mentioned start, stop, keep doing is, a broad standing agenda item. Do people... How do those topics come about, and what sort of regulation or moderation happens in those conversations?
Initially, it was from myself regulating and moderating what was coming up and providing some themes as to what we wanted to discuss in those. Over time, the team have learnt the pattern of those, and our values are really strong. So we're just running them through the values filter. We also pre-frame in our meetings that the stop doing is less about, be frank, less about having a whinge about something we don't like. And it's about, okay, something is perhaps challenging or not working in the clinic at the moment. That team member is also expected to bring some solutions to that conversation.
Yeah, awesome. It creates an ownership, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is what I don't like about it at the moment, or this is how it's impacting my day. I can see it working better like this. I may not have all of the answers, but here are some suggestions so that we've thought through it. It becomes less of a whinge fest, because otherwise meetings where you're talking about what should we stop doing as a clinic can turn into that. It can be a slippery slope.
And the same is true for what should we start doing. It can be quite frustrating for a team member who says, we should do this, we should do that, we should start this. And then inevitably you can't action every idea. So I really love that you spoke to culture, values, and, bring your ideas. We can't promise that we'll implement every single one, but your idea matters because that contribution could lead to the next great idea. Do you go about moderating expectations in any different way, or does that sum it up?
Absolutely. We moderate expectations a couple of different ways. We have an ideas board and a suggestions board for our team where those ideas can always land. We want to hear those ideas. It just may not be the season for them right now. This 12-month period, we've also concentrated as a team on, rather than doing more, we want to be more sophisticated at what we do. So the suggestions and the pre-frame to our team has been, how can we be more sophisticated at everything we're doing before we layer in the complexity of more things? More things doesn't make us better. It's the depth of how well we do stuff that makes us better.
I love that. Yeah, we don't want to be doing more necessarily. We don't want to be mile wide, inch deep type team members. Yeah. And yeah, you said something else there that's now slipped my mind, but it was really wise and profound.
The ideas board, perhaps, Jack?
Yeah, no, it's completely vanished. I was thinking about the next question and the past question. Nevertheless, my next question is, so often admin teams are transient is not the right word, but we've got some part-timers, some full-timers, some early starters, some late starters. Like, at least in my experience, I don't recall a time where every admin team member is in the building at the same time for 30 minutes. How do you navigate varieties of rosters?
That is a logistical challenge, and one we still find challenging. Most clinics do. Most clinics I speak to are still finding that challenging. We go with the best case scenario. We try and pick a day that works for most. We then make sure the meeting is recorded, and we ask for team members to contribute back into the threads or submit ideas prior. So it might be, if you can't attend and you've got a burning question about something that's really challenging or something you want to suggest, submit a little video in the thread, give us warmth and give us context. We love a video submission for that because it's like they're there in person. We can feel the tone a little bit better versus a written version of that. And I think that just really helps the team member feel involved. We do have an expectation that team members catch up on those meetings just so they're in the loop. And
when you say catch up, you mean like watch the recording and read the
Slack watch
threads?
The recordings. Yeah, go back and watch the recordings and then contribute their ideas in thread, or catch up with a team member about how they can contribute to the actions as well, so they don't just feel like they're left out. And our team days, which are quarterly, they are an expectation. So I carefully navigate through any leave requests or unavailability and try and schedule those where I can have pretty well everyone there. And we spend a whole day offsite, and half of the day is dedicated as an admin team meeting, admin team training. That's our real level up, and where we focus and we go deep. Practitioners also carve off into their own PD space for that. That's really where we get some good, solid contribution and some training done together. It's less frequent than perhaps is the most ideal and that we would like. However, getting everybody in the room's been our preference.
Yeah, I like it. And when you mentioned recording, how? What are the logistics of that? Have you got just a laptop sitting over in the corner, you call it Larry the laptop who does the recording, or have you got other people like hybrid, some in the room, some on Zoom? How does it work?
It's a bit of hybrid. So it's really just a laptop in the corner, and some team members are on the laptop, some we're multi-site. So the reality is that some of us are here in person and some of us are either off-site, at home, in the car, on the way to uni.
Okay. Yeah, so we've got some in the room, some on Zoom. I remember my comment from previous. It was, you alluded to it, the right idea at the wrong time is the wrong idea. And helping our team realize that, like, every idea is a good idea. It's not about the quality of the idea, it's the quality of the timing that dictates the quality of the idea. I really like that.
Absolutely.
My next question for you, in your observation across all of the clinics that you coach and mentor through our business academy, through our practice leaders program, which is, when we say practice leaders, we're talking about practice managers, admin team leads, client care teams. So across that practice leaders program, where do you see admin meetings going off the rails and going wrong?
Where there isn't a set agenda or a pro forma, where it's more of a chit chat and a catch up, that's where I see it becoming very frustrating. The other, where it goes off the rails, is where whoever is leading that, whether it be the practice manager or the clinic owner, walks away with more on their to-do list than when they walked in.
Okay, so say more about that. Clinic owners having all the to-dos.
My goal walking out of a meeting is to have less on my to-do list than when I walked in.
How do you do
empowering our team? If you're walking out with more, it means you are the problem solver, you're the solutions person, and you're trying to control everything. And there are team members who can contribute in a way. And look, to be perfectly honest, if a team member can do it to 95% of your standard, that's excellent, and it's going to free up your time.
Yeah, I actually heard it said recently, I think it was Pat Lencioni, listened to an amazing YouTube video with him and John Maxwell and Dave Ramsey. Anyway, he said it's not just can they do it as 95% as good as you, but can they do it like 70% as good as you with a teachable spirit?
Yes.
If they can do it, half as good as you, but they're teachable, let them do it. Let them make, insignificant mistakes. Let them go for it.
Exactly. And I also figure for our team, it may also mean that that system or that process or whatever it might be, that action is implemented within days versus months, and it's sitting on your to-do list and it just doesn't get done. That's also where your team then think that you might be all talk, nothing gets actioned, and it's because we've become the bottleneck and we've created that.
Interesting. So again, have you personally had to deal with that guilt of like, there's not much on my, well, at least not much from a meeting on my to-do list, and they've got it all? How do you process that?
Yeah, I definitely did find that really challenging. And then I actually looked at my to-do list, and some team members actually just started to action stuff for me. They said, off the back of this meeting, I've actually already completed that. And I had it on my agenda for, say, next week or the week after. And I looked at it and went, that's actually better than what I could have done. So I'm going to give that to you now in future.
Okay, so that's if that's where meetings go off the rails or go awry. When you think about some of the best meetings that either you've been a part of or you've heard as a coach, what makes them work? What makes the best meetings work well?
Team members coming ready and prepared, because we know that team members, some will talk often and a lot and want to be able to contribute on the spot, and others who are perhaps more reserved or quiet or a period of time thinkers are not going to contribute. So allowing everyone to be able to contribute in a meaningful way. And then it comes to rounding out the meeting about decisions, actions, and when. When do we expect this? So that's the accountability piece. If we're going to put up our hand to do something, when do you think, Jack, it's reasonable that you would have that completed by? I always ask the team member when they think is reasonable, and then we can adjust timeframes based on what my expectations are. Or I might say to them, so you think you're going to have that ready in 2 days? That seems, adventurous given what we've got happening in the clinic in the next 2 days. What if we gave you a little bit more scope? Or best case scenario, you do get it done, let's have a fail safe of perhaps Monday. Or if a team member says, I can have that ready for you in 3 weeks, just say, do you think we might be able to fast track that? Could you work with someone else who might be able to help you bring that time frame forward? So I can always moderate those time frames, but asking them what they think is fair and reasonable.
And I like that, because when a team member decides or contributes on the deadline, they're far more likely to own it and be accountable to it, rather than just top down, the boss said I have to do it by Monday. It's like that's not motivating for anyone, right?
They want accountability, but they also want to take charge and that sort of purpose part of it.
So when we talk about, setting deadlines or expectations, how do you know the work has actually been done? Like, what does that closure of accountability loop look like? Do you check in on it next meeting, or is it a Slack update? Like, what does confirmation that actions have been done look like?
Absolutely. Our Slack is prolific. So that's where we'd normally hang out. So we'd report on, so if it's due at the next meeting, halfway between those meetings, we would just check in and say, hey, where are we up to with this? What's going well with the project? What's a key challenge? Do you need any support? And really, when it comes to coming back a step and setting up what that project looks like and the time frame, I lean to Brené Brown and paint done. Let's be really clear on what the actual outcome looks like. Because in my mind, I might go, this project start to finish looks like this. For a team member, it might look very, very different. So let's be really clear on what actions are needing to be completed.
I like that. Something that I've observed clinic owners, I'll say, wrestle with is the notion of helping team members to show their work or show you're working, because, maybe it's just Aussie culture. For those listening in the US or the UK, Canada, New Zealand, you maybe don't have this culture, but there's a distinctly Australian culture around not wanting to seem like you're bragging or showboating, and therefore we just quietly get our work done and don't really tell anyone about it. So something that I've worked hard on with teams that I lead is to get them to, like, I trust that you're doing the job, but show me that you do the job really well. Let me have a chance to celebrate, acknowledge, brag on you. So what I'm getting at here is, we set expectations, to-dos, deadlines. It's a really healthy culture where a team shows that their work is done. And that might look like an update in Slack that says, hey team, I was supposed to do X. I've done that now. Here's the link to it on Ali. I was tasked with solving this problem. Consider it done. Problem solved. That idea of showing your work and making it obvious that things are done. Because as a clinic owner, Beck, we don't want to have to sit there and wonder and go like, we delegated that to Jenny. I know she's pretty reliable, but I'm not sure if she nailed it or not. It removes that confusion, right?
Absolutely. Celebrating the work that's been done has been a core part of how we generated our values. So that you can see happening through Slack. Our team are also really good. And what I also see other teams doing within the Practice Leaders program is as they're working through a task, they're posting an update and saying to the team, any advice about where we're heading with this? Does this look and feel like it's going in the direction we want this action to go in? And the distinction is advice versus feedback as well. And I learned that a while ago, perhaps from yourself, Jack, when we were coaching, or Daniel Gibbs, was around asking for advice means that we're open and receptive to that. And we see it as an opportunity to level up, versus feedback. There's almost this negative connotation with feedback. Hey, can I provide you with some feedback?
Yeah, it's like criticism, right?
Yeah, so we openly ask for advice as to how we could improve the system ready for rollout at X date.
I love that. It's, again, a really good 1%er for clinic owners, and whether it's relating to admin team meetings or anything else, advice or opinions versus feedback. I actually think it's inspired by Adam Grant at some level. You probably heard it from me because I quote it quite a lot. And feedback is past oriented. Yeah, it's talking about something that's already done. It's finished. It's in the books. Versus advice or opinions is very future oriented. It's something that we can control, we can action and implement. And it also, in the context that you're talking about, Beck, someone doing a task and asking for the advice or opinion of the rest of the team, it's like we're not islands, operating independently. We're collaborating and working as a collective, so that it's not completely dependent on one individual, right?
Absolutely. And trying to pair team members up together who, Jack, you and I have that real steel energy, very details, very numbers focused, love that dirt. You've got Ben, who's your big thinky star energy. And so he's more the creative and loves the conceptual stuff. Is trying to actually pair team members together. That's also going to challenge them in the way that they think, but you're also going to get a really beautiful, well-rounded picture when you do that.
Yeah. So talk to me then about good meetings or you see the best doing. Like, how do you assess or measure the effectiveness of a meeting? Like, how do you know when you walked out and you go, that was pretty bloody good. I did a good job. How would you define that?
Being a numbers person, I'd love to put a rating or something on it, but you can often feel the energy of the team. Do people walk away with, energized chatter as they're walking away from the meeting? Or does the Slack channel continue to go after the meeting? Do people feel like they're engaged with that content? So I see meetings not only as a purpose for making decisions, but a purpose of aligning ourselves and re-energizing ourselves. And even the way that I see teams and clinics do this, the timing of their team days, we often see a peak in energy, perhaps after a team day. You start to see it just wane a little bit. Maybe winter has a contributing factor, and then you see it peak back up again in the lead up to a team day. And so it's about getting that sort of flow working really nicely.
There's a couple of things you said there I was jotted down. It's worth touching on. Alignment is key. And, as much as we want productive meetings, we want productive in the efficient sense, but we also want productive in a cultural sense.
Yes.
And sometimes, not all the time, but I've noticed that disengagement from a meeting can be the canary in the coal mine of a team member that's maybe on the way out or at least on the rocks. Yeah, when when they're checking their phone, when we have a no phones policy, when they're staring out at the sky, when you ask for their contribution and they say, oh, I've got nothing to add consistently, that disengagement is a real canary in the coal mine, a real, yellow flag to press in on. So meetings, not only are they efficient, we want them to have a cultural alignment effect as well.
Yeah. The canary for me, Jack, is when we do wins around the grounds and we do wins every meeting. So you should come with a win of some kind. And we're going around the grounds and someone's like, oh, no wins. Nothing really good.
What do you do? What do you do in that case? Do you press and wait for them, or do you just move on?
I say, okay, let's have a think. Surely there's been something great that's happened to you. Have you had a really good coffee lately? Let's come back to you. We always circle back to that person, but we do keep moving and we do keep the energy going in the circle or the virtual room, but we do come back.
That's good. That's a really good
And we call it out in the moment as well.
Yeah, it kind of feels weird if you don't type thing. Okay. So, what I wrote down about good meetings is that cultural alignment, that often it's not about information dissemination, but it is a reminder meeting. Craig Rochelle often says our job as CEOs is CROs, the Chief Reminding Officer. We need to almost recalibrate back to this is our values, this is our focus for this 90 days, this is the project, keep it front of mind. And so there is a reminder element. And then finally, you mentioned the numbers about a good meeting. It's actually a good practice, and we did this inside a lot of Clinic Mastery meetings for a finite period, maybe a 3-month or 6-month period, at the end of a meeting to ask for a rating out of 10 and a sentence of context. And it's super subjective, right? It's not like there's a rubric, but it starts to elicit a little bit of feedback that's helpful for us as owners or moderators. And it's also helpful for our team to start to think about, well, what does make a meeting a 9 out of 10? What does make a meeting a 4 out of 10? And, something that I observed in our teams was the same meeting that I thought, let's say, is mediocre, lackluster, maybe a 6 out of 10. There would still be some folks who would score that an 8 or a 9 because they loved it. And there'd still be folks that would score it a 2 or a 3 and it was a major flop. When I thought it was just vanilla, some folks still thought it was awesome or negative. So, getting that rating, that feedback, it serves a couple of different purposes. Have you ever tried that, or have you seen it work at all?
I've seen it work, and in a Clinic Mastery setting, I've seen it work. I want to ask you a question about that. In fact, Jack, we haven't used it in our clinic, and I'll put my hand up and say we haven't, and probably the reservation is my ego. But I might do it. We've got an upcoming team day in about 2 weeks. So, well, hey, I might ask for a rating and see how good my team day skills are.
Yeah, well, there's only one way to find out, isn't it? Yeah, it is a moment of vulnerability, but what's the alternative? That our team members just keep it to themselves and they don't? Well,
exactly. We don't have an opportunity to improve and create something that is meaningful to them and actually hits the mark. Jack, in terms of actually asking for that feedback, firstly, how would you go about it? And second is, in what platform or method would you ask team members to contribute? Is it a direct message to yourself, or is it a group chat? And if it is a group chat, how do you perhaps combat team members just writing the same thing and scoring, seeing someone contribute, a 6 and someone contribute a 9 and then going, oh yeah, I thought that too.
Got to change it. Okay, good. So the way we would do it typically would be through Slack threads, and we would ask our team to type in, your score and your comment or whatever. Do not hit send. So yes, this is a moment where people pull out their phones or their laptop and it's like, we're going to create a thread, type in your response, but do not hit send. And then you look around the room, wait till everyone finishes typing, and then you say, okay, on 3, we're all going to hit send. 1, 2, 3, click. And all the responses come through. Now, there's a reason for that. A couple of reasons. Number one, it doesn't bias other people's perspectives. So you're exactly right. We don't want influence to mask someone's true thoughts. So that would be reason number one. But reason number two, now this is not, I wouldn't say controversial, but perhaps polarizing, is I believe, and we at CM believe in open, transparent feedback. not anonymous feedback. Now, there are select cases, perhaps, where anonymous feedback, but that is the exception. The rule should not be anonymity, because if we want people to make contributions and feedback, we want them to be able to put their name to it. Be confident that you've created a safe enough place for people to publicly share their commentary. And so doing it in a Slack thread, means people get to own it, and it opens up other commentary. So there's that component. And here's how I would solicit it. I'd say, give us your score out of 10. Again, quite subjective, but 10 being awesome, 1 being horrible. And how can we improve that score? So it's not just, I gave it a 3 out of 10 because you forgot my name. It's like, well, that's not helpful. It's like, if you're going to give it a 3 out of 10, how would you make it a 4? If you're going to score this meeting an 8 out of 10, what would make it a 9? And so we're always looking at, like, what's the opportunity to improve, not just to throw mud. Does that make sense? We're asking, and I think it's Adam Grant again, but he says that humans have this innate incapacity to not give their opinion when asked. If I was to ask you your opinion on how the Crows went this year in the footy, or if you want to give me your opinion on Google versus Microsoft, it's like, you have to give your opinion. You can't not give it. So therefore, as clinic owners, how can we leverage that psychology for the collective good and solicit people's opinions on making progress? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Jack, you touched on before creating a safe space for someone to publicly rate a meeting a 2 out of 10, where they might go, oh, hang on a minute, I'm telling my boss that their meeting was a 2. Is that going to jeopardize my future employment prospects or whatever it might be? How do you go about, and this is a long-winded answer, I guess, is how do you create a space where someone feels safe to give you a 2?
Yeah, it's a really important question, particularly in the context of admin team meetings, because of that, older sibling, younger sibling, scenario that you spoke to earlier. And so it's in that vein of, Simon Sinek, leaders eat last kind of concept of, there's some places where we need to go first and show vulnerability, lead with vulnerability. So what that could look like, Beck, is as a clinic owner, sometimes you might say, I'm going to score myself. You score yourself as well. You're part of the Slack thread, right? Because none of us nail 10 out of 10 meetings every time. So it looks, what that safety looks like is yourself contributing to that thread and saying, I give myself a 5 out of 10 and I could make it a 6 by getting my agenda out earlier to those period of time thinkers. So showing where your own flaws are and getting better. And then each time someone does show some vulnerability, maybe they do give you a low score, or they contribute feedback that might be a little bit touchy. It's acknowledging that and not blowing up or embarrassing them, but really validating that contribution. When people are vulnerable, it's our responsibility as leaders to validate and show the rest of the room who's watching along that when you're vulnerable, it's not going to get thrown back in your face. When you're vulnerable, it's not going to be used against you. That in fact, it's acknowledged, it's appreciated. You want to show gratitude for people being honest and making sure that we avoid groupthink, and we need harmony. Pat Lencioni speaks about this notion of artificial harmony and how toxic artificial harmony is. It's like, if we're creating a space where people aren't honest, they're just saying the harmonious thing. They're just saying what they think should be said. It's fake, it's artificial, and it's a recipe for cultural slop, right? We need honesty and vulnerability and candor, not artificial harmony. And so when people show that honesty and vulnerability, acknowledge that, take it on board, and prove to the rest of the team that it's a safe place to do so.
Absolutely. Jack, you touched on a couple of things there, and I think it comes back to also pre-framing that you're on a pathway as a leader. You want to continue to improve the way that you facilitate meetings, or the way that you facilitate team days, or your ability to do a certain thing. So it's like, I would really love your feedback as about how I could level up, or how this experience could be better for you.
Right.
And feedback is a gift, because that's going to allow me and us to level up. And then thanking them for their ability to give feedback and following up on what that looks like.
Yeah. Spot on. I think there's a shift that we see in the best leaders, that they don't feel the pressure to have to be the guru or the top dog in the paddock. It's like, it's my job to draw the best out of others, not to be. I heard someone refer to it recently. If you think about a music label or a production label, it's not your job to be the rock star. It's your job to be the factory that creates other rock stars. You don't have to be the hero. You don't have to be the top dog. You don't have to feel the guru pressure. It's your job to create champions out of others. And in fact, it's better if you know less. And I mean this with the intention is the utmost respect. Ben Lynch is brilliant at this, is that he draws out the shining lights in others and doesn't have to know everything, but be able to draw the best out of others. So Beck, as we land this, I'm thinking about two different types of clinic owners. One, the clinic owner that has some admin meetings happening, but they're lackluster. And I'm thinking about the clinic owner who doesn't have admin meetings and is thinking about instituting this as an idea. I'd love you to give a parcel of advice for both of those, the one with lackluster meetings and the one about to start meetings. What would you say to them?
I would say create an agenda that works for you and be consistent at implementing that. Our team will fall into a really nice rhythm where we can provide them with that consistency and spark joy. If your meetings are lackluster, find something fun that brings joy. Start it with a huddle. It might be that on rotation, someone's got to share a joke. Bring some fun and some life to these meetings so that people want to turn up and they want to lean into those. And the same advice would go for someone starting out, is find a rhythm and find an agenda that works. And the biggest thing for both, make decisions at those meetings. So land the plane at each and every meeting, go, so we have decided if you've got 5 minutes to go and we're still talking around, okay, 5 minutes to go, we need to make a decision on this. Let's just vote. Let's just put it in Slack. Actually make a decision and bring things to a close.
I love that. So, for listeners, if your meetings are enjoyable and people want to be at them, you've just added a little agenda item that people love to be at, number one. And number two, that there's always closure. There's always decisions, actions, and accountabilities. Team members will start to learn that these are productive, valuable investments of their time. I really like it, Beck. Thank you for your contributions. And listeners, if you head to clinicmastery.com/podcast, again, that's clinicmastery.com/podcast, you'll be able to find this episode on admin team meetings. There'll be a link there to get in touch, to have a conversation with us. If you need some help leveling up your admin team meetings, of course, all the links, show notes, everything that we've touched on here today, but head over to clinicmastery.com/podcast for this episode and show notes. Oh, Beck, I think we should maybe delete Ben and Daniel from the...
So, I'm liking this energy.
Yeah, I think we're onto something. We'll see. In fact, listeners, if you're still here, head over to Spotify. In the comments, we read all the comments, and let us know your controversial opinions. Should we have Ben or Daniel back, or not? Or maybe even Hannah. I wonder what's happened to Hannah.
MIA.
She's MIA. We'll see. Maybe we'll have Hannah back. I don't know about Ben. Anyway, Beck, we'll have Hannah back. Maybe it's you, me, and Hannah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see that in the chat, in the comments, over on Spotify. Hey, Beck, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Listeners, thank you for joining us. Trust this has been super helpful. Again, get in the Spotify comments, leave us a review and rating, and ultimately head to clinicmastery.com/podcast to see if we can help you. We would love to grow your clinic, amplify your impact, and build clinics for good. That's it for us, Beck. See you on the next episode.
See you later.